Welcome to Birds Play Sports, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, we're going to be doing the pregame to our upcoming Thursday night matchup against Miami Dolphins, a game in which we finally get back Lamar Jackson, our MVP quarterback. He's fully ready to go. He's locked in, and he's so locked into the point where there was a report from Marlon Humphrey's podcast, and you were the one to actually break the news to me and first say this. He was the one that was behind taking out all the games and entertainment out of the Ravens locker room. And he was telling the reporters, to take away the TVs, the ping pong tables. Those things are kind of hindering us from focusing on the field. And I think that was a great leadership move by Lamar. Definitely something, that says, let me lead by example. And, I feel like moving forward, we need to be a lot more locked in. We need to really show attention to detail. And I think that main thing right there is what's going to, change us from 2-5 to, 9-5, by, I believe that would be like week 14 or something. So, moving forward, I think that's a great thing, for the future of the team, and our attention span, our locked inness. But, moving on to, just, my quick thoughts, and then pass it on to you. I'm really kind of worried about Derrick Henry in this game. And the reason I say that is because, Sunday I saw the Dolphins, they played the Falcons. In my mind, I'm thinking, Bijan Robinson, he's going to tear them up. He's going to have like 130 rushing yards, just something crazy like that. They stuffed him. And, what I'm basically trying to get at here is that was an important win for the Falcons. I mean, for the Dolphins last week. Them being able to shut down Bijan, to shut down that offense. Granted, they didn't have Drake London, or MPJ, Michael Penix, but that was a, very good confidence boost for them. And, going into this game, we're at their crib, we're going to have to try to steal it from them. I feel like Derrick Henry might have a little bit, of some trouble. And I feel like it's important that the O line really steps up and plays up to the competition. And, I know that might sound crazy playing up to the competition, but from now on, like Kyle Hamilton said, every game is a playoff game. If we lose one game, that could be our season. So moving forward, we're in playoff games for the rest of the season. So we have to play up to the urgency level, play up to the competition, and really get Derrick Henry going. He had a good game last week, 21 carries, 71 yards. That might look a little bit weird, when you look at the stat lines, but for what he did in the game, I feel like that was, well executed and well done. So, I think, the key really is establishing Derrick Henry. So what are your first thoughts?
It's kind of similar, but I would actually establish Keith Mitchell early. Get them running. Kind of get. I don't think he's gonna get like 1,000 carries. But I think if you can give him a 6, 7, 8 carries, maybe to especially like maybe three on the first drive, get them running, then I think that could easily tire them out for Derrick Henry. And I think Derrick Henry is is a bruiser. He's definitely he's different beast, than Bijan Robinson, but Bijan Robinson's really good. So I'm actually surprised to see, that they shut him down. I didn't get a chance to see the game, but I'm genuinely surprised. But I'm not that surprised. Their defense is ran by Anthony Weaver, a former, I believe it was what linebackers? No, not linebackers coach. D line coach was it?
Your
Um,
D-line coach.
I think it was their D
I think
line
he was our secondary coach.
secondary coach. I forgot what coach he was, but that sounds about right. But I know he was on the defensive side, and I know he was a candidate to be defensive coordinator for the Ravens before, Zach Orr took the job. But so I'm not that surprised. The Dolphins are an interesting unit. Just because they have potential to be pretty good. But I think that I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with them. Like they have skill set players. That can really win them a lot of games and that's what kind of makes him a little bit scary, is Tua Tagovailoa gets the ball out pretty quick, so that could bode pretty poor for our defense, and our offense. If the Dolphins defense is going to be flying around, I mean, we've seen how flustered the Ravens offense can get, especially, I don't know. What if they do that, zero blitz shit again? They did 3 years ago or 4 years ago. Where they're just like, just get after Lamar. They can't block for him. I think that it's a different Lamar now. He'll probably pick it apart, maybe a little bit better than he did in that game. But this is very easily a trap game for the Ravens. I really think that when the Dolphins are, you know, on it, they can really, put a good, game together. They just showed that on Sunday. So I'm very concerned, for that as well. If we can't get Derrick Henry going, that kind of, makes our offense a little bit one-dimensional. But it's gonna be up to guys if he can't go in like Bateman and Zay and Isaiah and Mark to get open, to give Lamar some outlets to throw, and because I don't know how much Lamar, what percentage Lamar is. I don't think he's 100% personally. I don't know if he'll ever be this rest of this year, with that hamstring injury, but there's obviously a high possibility he could re-aggravate it as well, which is something we don't want to see, but it's possible, so the O line's really gonna need to block their ass off on tomorrow. I was gonna say Sunday, but it's tomorrow. And we'll see. But I have the same concerns that you do as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we've been very critical of Voorhees and Falele, and we're really going to need them to start stepping up. Especially Voorhees. I think he even sent me a post of his grade. It was like, it was in the 30s or something, and that's not good. And it just kind of makes me question, what did he show in training camp and OTAs that made the Ravens believe in him so highly. And maybe that's something we'll know after the season.
You get to go against our
Personnel.
defense. I think any
Yeah,
offensive line is going to look good against our defense.
yeah, and they don't really have anybody. It's like a makeshift line they have over there. Well, they have Jalen Phillips, who's a trade candidate, but we just really need a lot more out of those two guys. They've been very disappointing this year. It's a
Yeah.
sort of going for a lot of players have been disappointing. But I feel like what we're really going to be banking on and what we really can trust is for the defense to step up. Tua, you question, why? What's the problem with the Dolphins? Him alone, he's been a big problem, and he's very, turnover worthy, turnover prone. We're really going to need to bring that back out of him, in this game. We're going to need to force him to throw those interceptions, to get sacked. We're going to need to, cause all of that, and I believe we can do it. I feel like Kyle Hamilton, having Gilman out there, allowing Kyle Hamilton to bail over the field, that's definitely going to help out a lot. Nate Wiggins been balling out. Marlowe, it seemed like he got a little bit of his physicality back. I can't wait to see it, tomorrow. So I feel like that's going to be very important. But what's going to be very even more kind of interesting to watch how it develops out is what our D line is going to be. We got Peebles. We're very thin there. We got to figure out what we're going to do. And can we gain? Can we draw pressure on Tua, or will he just be able to have 16 years to be able to throw to whoever he wants to? That's going to be the main thing. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, if we could scheme pressure like how we did this week, then I think we're in for a good game. He might be knocked out of the game for all we know if we scheme pressure like that is again. But like I said, they get the ball up pretty quick. I think they said he's
Yeah,
the second fastest quarterback outside of Mahomes to get the ball out, and that could bode a lot of pressure for our defense. I don't anticipate our defense playing very well on Thursday, especially on a short week. And then I think they have plenty of weapons that can really, you know, um, really I guess frustrate us in a way. So yeah, I'm very concerned with the defense. I'm very concerned. They've put together two good performances, but stacking good games is difficult. It's
yeah.
difficult. I'll say stacking bad games is easier than stacking good games. I'll tell you that. So but if they can get stack three good defensive games in a row, then I mean I have all the confidence in the world in them going forward. But I just don't think that they can do it tomorrow.
Well, hopefully we can do that. I think it's going to be interesting to see, the Dolphins' stats and kind of, just for us individually imagine, how that can play out, against what we've been doing so far, against the Rams and, the Bears on Sunday.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm brain farting right now. um, sorry guys. I actually meant to get out of the way. I'm never gonna be able to get to it. Dude, move. All right, you know what? I meant to do this. I meant to do the injury report, which I had saved. Well, at least I believe I did. Yeah, here we go. The injury report for both the Ravens and the Dolphins. The Ravens have nobody on the injury report for once, so thank the heavens for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Buchanan was limited on Monday with a calf injury. He was full both Tuesday and Wednesday. He's no injury designation. He'll be good. Lamar Jackson practiced full all week with his hamstring injury. Hopefully. He has no injury designation though, so he should be good to go. Ronnie Stanley was limited Monday and Tuesday. He was full on Wednesday. He also has no injury designation. He's good to go. TJ Tampa shoulder injury was limited on Monday, was full Tuesday and Wednesday. He's good to go for Thursday. Nate Wiggins had a groin injury. I don't know when he got that. Was limited on Monday, but was full Tuesday and Wednesday. He's no injury designation. He's good for the Dolphins here, Elijah Campbell, quadricep, he's full all week. He's good to go, no injury designation. Bradley Chubb had a shoulder and foot injury. He didn't practice on Monday, was limited Tuesday and Wednesday. He's questionable for the game on Thursday. Ashton Davis had a quadricep. What's all the quadriceps injuries with them? He was a DMP all week. He's doubtful for the game. D Eskridge had a shoulder injury. Eskridge, make sure I said that right. Has a shoulder injury. He did not practice on Monday. He was limited Tuesday and was full on Friday. Sorry, Wednesday, not Friday. He's questionable. Minka Fitzpatrick had a thumb injury. He was full all week. He has no injury designation. He is good to go on Thursday. Julian Hill had an ankle hit injury. He did not practice all week. He's out for the game on Thursday. Alec Ingold had a neck injury. He was full all week. He's no injury designation. He's good for Thursday. Jason Marshall Jr. had a hamstring injury. He's full all week. He's questionable. But he is questionable for the game on Thursday. Oh boy, here we go. Ifiatu, M-
yep. Sounds right.
Melifanwu, maybe. Ifiatu
Yeah,
Melifanwu,
yeah,
possibly.
you got
I probably
it.
sound ridiculous saying that, but he has a thumb injury. He was limited Monday and Thursday, Tuesday. He full on Wednesday. He's questionable to go on Thursday. Tua Tagovailoa had thumb injury and an illness. He was full all week though. He has no injury designation. Dante Trader and Malik Washington. Malik Washington, that's funny. They were both full all week. They're good to go for Thursday. So there we go. I do want to what is that website called? NFL Stats. So those are the injury report for each teams going into the game. Now to move on to the stats. TJ's favorite part here. Thank God we're not going to Miami for this game. I'll tell you that. That was going to be our original plan a few months ago, but they didn't want to working out. But I guess it kind of worked out in our favor at the end of the day. Anyway, Miami's offense, however, scores 21.8 points per game, which is 21st in the league. They average 286.4 points yards per game, which is 28th in the league. They average 0.392 points per play, which is 16th in the league. They average 5.2 yards per play, which is 22nd in the league. Their third down conversion rate is at 41.24%, which is ninth in the league. That's not gonna that's not bode well for us. Their fourth down conversion rate is at 53.85%, which is 19th in the league. Their red zone scoring percentage, touchdowns, is 65.22%, which is 11th in the league.
Mhm.
Their touchdowns per game is at 2.5, which is 17th in the league. The rushing statistics, they run the ball 39.86% of the time, which is 24th in the league. They average 4.5 yards per rush, which is 13th in the league. They average 22.1 rushes per game, which is 29th in the league, so they don't really run the ball that well. I mean, run the ball that much, I should say. They average 98.5 rush yards per game, which is 23rd in the league. They average zero point 0.5 rushing TDs per game, which is 24th in the league. So not a good running game from the Miami Dolphins here. Their pass play percentage, they throw the ball 60.14% of the time, which is ninth in the league. Their completion percentage is at 68.67%, which is eighth in the league. They average 6.5 yards per pass, which is 23rd in the league. They average 31.1 passes per game, which is 20th in the league. They average 187.9 pass yards per game. All that throwing to throw for less than 200 yards a game, but it's 26th in the league. Their interception throwing percentage is at 4.2%, which is 31st in the league, and their QB sack percentage is at 6.7%, 6.74%, which is 19th in the league.
All right, going on to their defense. They allow 26.9 points per game, which is 26th in the league. 244.4, which is 23rd in the league. Opponent points per play is 0.4457, which is 28th in the league. Opponent yards per play is 5.9, which is 27th in the league. Can you actually scroll down because the computer has the screen like not full? Thank you. Opponent third down conversion percentage is 43.16, which is 27th. Opponent fourth down conversion percentage is 76.92, which is 29th. Opponent red zone scoring touchdown percentage is 51.52, which is sixth. And opponent touchdowns per game is 2.9, which is 23rd.
Can you
Going
say
down to the rushing. Oh, yeah, I see. Going down to the rushing, the rush play percentage is 49.15, which is 28th. Opponent yards per rush is 5, which is 29th. Opponent rushes per game is 28.9, which is 25th. And opponent rush yards per game is 145, which is 28th. And opponent rush TDs per game is 1.3, which is 23rd. Not a good rushing,
no?
rush defending defense.
You may be sitting here thinking they were good versus defense. They're trash, bro.
They decided they decided to be good against Bijan last week. I don't know what it was.
They should be decided to be good versus us. I'll tell you that.
Oh, the passing.
Yeah.
Did you scroll down to it?
Oh, I didn't know you couldn't see it. I didn't. I want to see it on your screen because I can.
Yes, my screen. This is my mom's computer. It's like very but
Oh,
opponent pass play percentage is 50.85, which is fifth. Opponent completion percentage is 73.66, which is 32nd. Opponent yards per pass is 7.6, which is 25th. Opponent passes per game is 28, which is sixth. Opponent pass yards per game is basically 200, which is 11th. And can you go down a little bit? Opponent interception thrown percentage is 0.45, which is 30th, and their sack percentage is 6.28, which is 21st.
mhm. Move on now to the individual's player statistics here. Tua Tagovailoa, their main quarterback, is 159 for 231, which is good for a 16.8 completion percentage. He has 1,518 yards. He averages 6.6 yards per throw. He averages 189.8 yards per game. He has 15 touchdowns to 10 picks already. He's been sacked 16 times, and he has a 90.4 quarterback rating. The rush game or the running game, Devon Achane has 107 yards, 107 carries for 539 yards, which is good for 5 yards per carry. His longest on the year is 49 yards. He has 3 touchdowns and he averages 67.4 yards per game. Ollie Gordon II has 38 rushes for 116 yards, which is good for 3.1 yards per carry. His longest is 16. And when he has 1 touchdown on the year, he averages 14.5 yards per game. Let's move on to the receivers now. Jalen Waddle has 35 receptions on 50 targets for 504 yards. He averages 14.4 yards per catch. He has 4 touchdowns. His longest is 46, and he averages 63 yards per game. Devon Achane, I just said it right earlier. I just messed it up. Has 37 receptions for 50 yards. Yeah, 37 receptions from 50 targets for 235 yards. He averages 6.4 yards per catch. He has 4 touchdowns. He has 29 received. His longest reception is 29 yards, and he averages 29.4 yards per game. And I know Darren Waller is not playing. I don't think. I think he's in the IR. Malik Washington, Tyreek Hill obviously aren't playing. Or was Malik? No, Malik Washington is playing. I'm sorry. Right? I
I
said
think
that he
he
was.
is playing.
I think I said I don't know how. I don't remember the injury report. I just read it.
Yeah, he is playing.
But
Malik
he has
Washington.
25 receptions for 38 on. Oh my God, I say that again. 25 receptions on 38 targets for 135 yards. He averages 5.4 yards per catch. He has one touchdown. He as long as 17. As long as reception is 17 yards, and he averages 16.9 yards per game. So that's their receivers that are we playing in this game. I'll let you read off the defensive statistics now. Just leaders and tackles, I guess.
Yeah, so Jordan Brooks, he has 85 total tackles. Tyrell Dodson has 59.
Damn.
Minka Fitzpatrick has 45. Jack Jones has 34. Rasul Douglas has 30. Ashton Davis has 26. Zach Sealer has 25. Bradley Chubb has 22. Melifonwu has 22. KJ Britt has 21, as well as Jalen Phillips. Kenneth Grant has 17. Jordan Phillips has 16. And Dante Trader Jr. has 16. When it comes to the sacks, Bradley Chubb has 4 sacks. Tyrell Dodson has 3. Jordan Brooks has 2.5. Jalen Phillips has 2. Kenneth Grant has 1.5. Chop Robinson has 1. And Rasul Douglas has 1. Tackles for loss, Jordan Brooks has 6. Bradley Chubb has 5. Tyrell Dodson also has 5. Zach Sealer has 4. Chop Robinson has 2, as well as Jalen Phillips, Ashton Davis, and Kenneth Grant. And same thing with Willie Gay Jr. They all have 1 tackle for loss. They just have
Can't
one
be helping. Ours
interception.
isn't much better.
They just have 1 interception on the year by Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I'm gonna dive through my TV if we pro picking the game. Good thing I'm not coming over to watch, I guess. Before we do all our bowl predictions and stuff, we'll do the NFL predictions here. Don't predict the Ravens game. We'll save that for when we do the predictions. I never seem to get this right, but just you predict every game besides the Ravens game.
All right, so I got the Broncos taking that game. Chargers. I'll say the Steelers win
That's a
that
tough
game.
game. Tough game.
Jaguars, Chiefs. I would take the Bears, Patriots, Packers,
So me ass beating if Dalton plays.
yeah, Lions, Niners, Rams, Seahawks, and Cowboys.
All right. I'll do update so I can get a chance to do it. My prediction, so far, I think I agree with you pretty much. I'm gonna go Colts though. Jags, Chiefs. Hmm. I'm gonna say Bears. I just want to say it just because I want the Bengals to lose. Patriots. This is probably ass beating of the week. That's also probably an ass beating of the week. Yeah. I'll go upset here.
Okay.
Those are my predictions. So we can go ahead. Where does that put us if we win? I'll just say if we win. I'm not. That's not a prediction yet, but I want to see where that puts us. That still put us 10th. That only has us a game out though of the division. All of a sudden, we can really like go like if the Colts can really do us a favor here. And look, the Bills are out of the playoffs too. So that's crazy to think. But anyway, so I'm gonna let you go first. Obviously, you remember bowl prediction, breakout player, or is it breakout player? No, is it breakout player or bowl prediction? Whichever one we do first, and then your game prediction, and I'll go afterwards.
Yeah. So my bold prediction, um, I believe that I believe I'll sack 2 or 3 times in this game. I feel like the D line, and our edge rushers are going to find a way to really get to him. We'll sack him 3 times in this game. Breakout player, I'm going to say Aeneas Peoples. I want to see him get in on the action and get a sack or half a sack. I want to see him do something. So I'll say Aeneas Peoples. And my score prediction, I believe the Ravens will win 24-13.
Okay. My bold prediction, I think Mark has a touchdown, or I think he has 2 touchdowns today or Thursday. I think that my breakout player is going to be, mm, hey, I'll say Mark because he gets 2 touchdowns. That's kind of simple for me. And I
Mm.
think that the Ravens lose 14-28.
Lose this game?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not picking Ravens until they prove to me that they can stack good games together. And I think that this is just going to be a trap game for us. I'll give my explanation. Lamar come back from injury, is probably going to have a lot of rust. I think the offense is gonna look clunky. Um, unless Todd Monken calls a game of his life. But I think this is gonna loss we're gonna look back on later in the year and be like, maybe if we won this game, our season could have been turned around. But
Well, hopefully it doesn't go that way. And hopefully we can salvage, what we have so far. But I wouldn't be surprised if what you said does happen. It's a Ravens thing to do is drop a goose egg on these type of games like this. You should win. But I believe that's all we got for you guys in this video. Any last things you want to add in?
um, please let my prediction be wrong and go 1-0 this week, or really 2-0 this week, really, if you think about it. But go 1-0 on
Yeah.
Thursday, so that we can start talking really about some Ravens football. And hopefully next time we get to come back on here, we've made some trades if we do win.
Hell yeah. I like that. So let's go 2-0 this week. Let's win it. Let's do our thing. Let's play some Ravens football like we're all used to doing. But that's all we got for you guys in this video. Make sure to comment down below. What is your bold prediction or breakout player or score prediction? Comment that down below. Also, again, shout out to Jared. He's really been grinding, with our YouTube shorts. They have thousands of views. So, if you guys see them, on your feed, aside from just liking, and maybe commenting on, also subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out a lot, and it'll, allow us to continue to push out those shorts that you guys enjoy watching. So make sure you do that. Shout out Jared. Also shout out Jared for the thumbnails he's been making, for our videos. He's really been grinding on that. So just show some love down in the comments form below. Also make sure to follow our social medias, our Instagram, our TikTok, and our Twitter. And also make sure to follow or subscribe to our second channel, Casual Cinema, or Birds Break Sports, and we're out.
Wow.